In the rushing waters of the north, the relationship between steel and the earth begins. Pulled from the cold current, the blade is clean but dull. It awaits the stone that will give it a voice. Fire births the iron in the forge, but the edge is born from violence and precision on the anvil. A warrior knows that a dull blade is a liability. The thumb tests the edge, seeking the bite of sharp steel. Using a simple dark river stone, the maintenance begins. It is a rhythmic, circular ritual of survival. Not all rocks are equal. The blacksmith listens to the density of the earth, seeking the right grain. Knowledge is passed down. A young hand learns that the stone must erode the metal, not shatter against it. The riverbed is a natural quarry. Here the smith hunts for stones smoothed by centuries of water. Sorting through the gravel, the hands discard the weak. Only the hardest stones earn a place in the pouch. In the golden hour, the grain is inspected. The stone must be porous enough to bite, yet smooth enough to polish. Sitting at the forest edge, the smith sharpens the seats. The grinding paste forms a seal between rock and blade. On the cliff edge, the finished weapon cuts the air. It is the culmination of geology and metallurgy. Inside the longhouse forge, the scale of production increases. The community relies on the sharpness of their tools. A massive battle axe is inspected. Even the heaviest weapon relies on a microscopic edge for its lethality. Back in the stream, the search continues. The cold water numbs the skin, but the prize is worth the cold. Washing away the silt reveals the stone's true color. Clarity underwater often indicates a consistent grit. Taste and touch are the primary tools. The tongue detects porosity that the eye might miss. Rubbing stones together tests the grit. The white paste that forms is the abrasive slurry needed for sharpening. Amidst the wild nature, a suitable stone is found. It is a small victory in a harsh environment. Water is the lubricant. It clears the metal filings away, keeping the stone's surface aggressive and clean. Underwater, the selection is tactile. The thumbs read the surface of the riverbed like braille. The tongue test confirms the texture. A stone that absorbs moisture will hold the water needed for the grind. In the forge, the raw stone is tested for density. It must split cleanly without hidden fractures. Creating the slurry is the first step. This friction paste acts as a liquid sandpaper for the steel. Using a chisel, the smith shapes the raw river rock into a uniform rectangular block for the bench. Flatness is critical. The smith checks the silhouette against the light to ensure a perfectly level surface. To true the stone, it is rubbed against a harder base. This grinding action levels the working face. A thumb runs across the finished whetstone. It is now a precision instrument, ready for the blade. The process requires stages. The smith selects a coarse grit stone to begin the heavy material removal. Sparks fly as the coarse sandstone bites into the metal, erasing deep nicks and reprofiling the edge. Deep scratches mark the steel. This is the foundation of the edge, removing damage before refinement begins. The heat of the forge matches the intensity of the work. Sweat and soot are the uniform of the sharpener. Switching to a medium grit shale, water is poured from a horn. The refinement process moves to the next stage. The blade glides over the wet shale. A gray slurry forms, smoothing out the deep scratches from the coarse stone. Inspection reveals the progress. The jagged tears are replaced by a uniform matte finish. A rare banded finishing stone is brought out. These unique geological layers offer the finest polish. With very little pressure, the blade is polished. The stone feels oily and smooth, refining the microscopic edge. This precious tool is safeguarded. It is tucked into a dedicated leather pouch, a warrior's most vital accessory. Attached to the belt, the pouch is always within reach. A sharp sword is useless if it cannot be maintained. In the field, maintenance is quick. A few passes with the pocket stone keep the ice-cold steel ready for battle. Back in the longhouse, the ritual continues. The rhythmic sound of stone on steel blends with the crackling fire. It becomes a meditation. Eyes closed, the warrior relies on muscle memory and the sound of the friction. The hands perform a swaying motion. This compound wrist movement is key to the Viking sharpening style. Microscopically, the stone is a skeleton of hard crystals. It cuts the steel while the soft binder washes away. The river does the work of millions of years, washing away the silt to leave the hard grinding stones behind. Scanning the ground becomes second nature. Every riverbank is a potential armory for the observant Viking. A perfect water-worn stone is a treasure. Smooth, dark, and heavy, it promises a keen edge. In hidden valleys, secret quarries provide the best materials. These locations are guarded as jealously as gold.
Finest grit
Stones
in the
are
fjord.
traded and inspected. A good whetstone is a currency of its own in the
Are the
Viking
edges
world.
true?
Water retention is tested. A stone that dries too fast will heat the blade. It must hold the liquid. A large axe requires patience. The smith sits, working methodically to bring the heavy edge to a razor finish. The circular motion builds up a gray paste. This suspension is the cutting agent, crucial for the process. Light catches the satin finish. It is not a mirror polish, but a functional, microscopic sawtooth edge. A thumb runs near the edge. The warrior smiles, feeling the dangerous potential of the sharpened steel. This is the geometry of survival. It is not just about being sharp, but about staying sharp. A thin edge chips against shields, but the Viking convex edge is supported by metal, surviving the impact. The smith rocks the stone to create this curve. It is a subtle motion that adds immense structural strength. Immediately behind the cutting edge, the blade thickens. This appleseed geometry prevents the edge from rolling. Striking a wooden post, the blade bites deep. Because of the curve, it splits the wood without getting stuck. The smooth gradient of the steel acts as a wedge. There is no hard angle to catch or break on impact. Against the shield, the convex geometry pushes the wood fibers apart. It ensures the sword can be retrieved instantly. Even against iron helmets, the edge holds. It might dent, but the convex support prevents catastrophic shattering. Creating this curve requires the wrist to roll. It is a fluid, learned motion that defines a master sharpener. Rhythm is everything. The smith sways his body to maintain the complex angle throughout the long sharpening session. The paste is pushed in a wave ahead of the blade. This visual cue tells the smith the angle is correct. Elders teach the youth the rolling motion.
Ease your grip.
It is a legacy of
and roll the
biomechanics
wrist
passed
smoothly,
down
like
through
this.
generations.
There you go.
Cutting through material, the blade passes cleanly. The geometry reduces friction, allowing for deep severing cuts. While a razor edge chips, the convex edge endures. It is the difference between a tool and a weapon of war. The axe strikes with a pop. The vibration signifies a clean split, driven by the wedge-like shape of the edge. Inspection shows a pristine edge. Despite the heavy impact, the steel remains uncompromised. From mud to blood, the sword endures the chaos of the battlefield, protected by its engineered geometry. In the post-battle camp, the edge is checked. Minor wear is expected, but the structure remains sound. Maintenance is constant. A quick touch-up with a handheld stone keeps the weapon ready for the next fight. For large axes, the stone moves over the blade. Circular motions restore the keenness without a large bench stone. A puck-shaped stone is a versatile tool. It allows for freehand sharpening even in the rough conditions of a campaign. Pressure lightens as the edge refines. Heavy grinding shifts to a gentle polish to align the steel crystals. The smith switches stones. The progression from coarse to fine is the pathway to a true edge. A visible transition line appears. It marks where the rough scratches of the grind meet the polished convex edge. The thumbnail test is the final judge. A sharp blade will catch on the nail, biting instantly with zero pressure. The tip is sharpened at a steeper angle. This blunt reinforcement ensures it can pierce armor without snapping. The sword is a system of variable geometry, thick at the hilt for blocking, thin at the sweet spot for cutting. This allows the warrior to parry heavy blows with the base, then strike efficiently with the distal end. Without tools, the smith feels the geometry. His thumb reads the curves and planes like a map. Senses are heightened in the dark. He feels for vibrations, detecting irregularities that the eye cannot see. In the moonlight, the finger glides near the edge. He knows the blade is ready by the way it threatens the skin. Transitioning to the polishing phase, a pale stone is used. This is where the edge becomes art. The rough scratches are erased. The surface takes on a soft satin glow, reducing friction in the cut. It is not a modern mirror finish. The Viking satin finish retains lubricant and hides the scars of battle. A ghostly reflection appears in the steel. The smith sees himself in his creation, a bond between maker and tool. Water and stone dust are mixed. This suspension paste is the secret to the final smooth finish. The paste has a creamy viscosity. It suspends the grit, preventing deep scratches from the raw stone. Microscopically, it is liquid sandpaper. The particles roll between the blade and the stone, cutting gently. The blade floats on this cushion. It moves smoothly, polishing rather than grinding. As metal is removed, the slurry turns jet black. The stone is eating the steel, transforming it into a dark paste. Black, oily drips fall from the blade. This residue is the evidence of a successful sharpening session. The smith nods. The color of the paste confirms that the steel is hard and the stone is cutting true.
Steel.
The warrior listens to the stone. The sound tells him more about the edge than his eyes ever could. A rough scratch means the angle is wrong. A smooth hiss means the edge is forming perfectly. Hearing that perfect hiss, the warrior smiles. The rhythm speeds up, a confident dance of steel on stone. Water is added sparingly. Diluting the black paste keeps the cutting action consistent and prevents clogging. The paste acts as a buffer. It ensures the finish remains uniform, floating the steel above the harsh rock. Fingertips check the consistency. The sharpener knows exactly how the grit should feel between the fingers. Leaning close, the ear guides the hand. In the quiet of the forest, the blade sings as it sharpens. Vibration travels through the blade. A perfect edge hums, resonating with the friction of the stone. A small whetstone pendant hangs from the neck. It is a badge of preparedness, worn against the heart. In the blinding snow, the pendant is pulled. A quick touch-up keeps the axe biting in the frozen cold. The technique shifts in the field. Small circles keep the edge keen without the luxury of a workbench. The pocket stone is often carved. Intricate runes or beasts adorn the non-working side, making it a talisman. Warriors compare their stones.
That's a fine stone.
The quality of the grain is a
holds an
point of
edge well.
pride and conversation by the fire. Tucked back into its sheath, the stone is secure. It is as essential to the Viking kit as the weapon itself. We travel to the fjords of Norway. Here lies the source of the Viking world's most legendary sharpening stones. A trader looks at a slab of light gray slate. This is Eatsborg stone, the gold standard of the sharpening world. The surface glitters with mica and quartz. This unique mineral composition gives the stone its biting power. A tap with a hammer produces a clear ring. This high pitch signifies a dense, flawless rock structure. At the Eatsborg quarry, the scale is industrial. Men drive iron wedges into the massive rock face. With a thunderous crack, the mountain yields. A massive block splits, ready to be processed into thousands of tools. Workers trudge through the snow, carrying heavy slabs. It is brutal labor to extract wealth from the winter earth. Master quarrymen shape the raw slabs. With a chisel, they form the rough bars that will travel the known world. Piles of finished stones stack up like bricks of gold. They wait on the dock, the backbone of the export economy. A human chain passes the wealth. From the mountains to the long ships, the stones are moved by hand. Great care is taken in packing. Dried moss and straw wrap each bar to prevent them from shattering during the voyage. Traders inspect the crates. A loose stone is a broken stone, and broken stones mean lost profit. A drop proves the fragility. The trader's frustration is visible. Raw rock is durable, but shaped slate is brittle. The hull fills with heavy crates. Covered in tarred leather, the precious cargo is protected from the salt spray. Trade routes expand like veins. From Norway, the stone travels to Denmark, Germany, and England, bringing wealth back north. In foreign markets, the stone is exchanged for silver. It is weighed and valued as a high-end commodity. Placed on velvet, the Eatsborg stone is treated like a gemstone. To a foreign smith, it is a miracle tool. Blacksmiths across Europe examine the import with awe. The Viking stone offers an edge their local rocks cannot match. In warehouses, the stones are counted. Stacks of 10 rise in the dusty light. Inventory for the coming season. Winter caravans move inland. Sleds pulled by horses carry the heavy stone crates through deep mountain passes. The sleds take a beating, but the straw packing holds, cushioning the brittle slate from the shocks of the road. By the campfire, the trade goods are used. A broken sled is repaired with a knife sharpened by the very cargo it carries.
The mark of the quarry is chiseled into a stone bar.
This primitive logo guarantees the origin and quality of the stone. A wealthy jarl inspects the shipment. The marks confirm the tax is paid and the quality is pure. Iron ore and whetstone sit in balance. Without the stone to sharpen it, the iron is useless. They are equal. Shipwrecks reveal the scale of the trade. While the wood rots, piles of pristine sharpening stones remain on the seabed. Archaeologists brush away the dirt. The stone that emerges is unchanged by 1,000 years in the earth. Picked up by a Viking hand, the stone is wet and new. It is a tool that transcends time. Ships leave the coast heavy with rock. The waterline is low, a visual indicator of the immense value on board. Centuries pass at the quarry. Vikings become medieval workers, then modern miners, but the rock remains the same. Looking out at the harbor, a blacksmith wipes his hands. He stands at the center of a global network of stone. The map glows with connections. Eatsborg is the heart, pumping the lifeblood of sharpness to the extremities of Europe. A handshake seals the deal, silver for stone, a transaction that fueled the Viking Age economy. A foreign knight marvels at his blade. He owes his edge to a mountain in Norway he will never see. The balance scale tips. The raw potential of ore is weighed against the refining power of the stone. Polishing is more than maintenance. It is status. A shining blade commands respect in the jarl's hall. Gold rings glint as a hand polishes. A fine cloth and paste bring the steel to a mirror-like perfection. The sword costs as much as a farm. The visual splendor of the weapon reflects this immense investment. Holding the sword to the light, it blinds the room. It is a symbol of power, piercing the smoky gloom of the hall. The finish is like liquid mercury. This water shine is the hallmark of a master polisher's patience. In the flat of the blade, a warrior sees his own reflection. War paint and fierce eyes stare back from the steel. Soft leather and fine ash create the final buff. This gentle abrasion removes the last haze from the metal. The mirror of death reflects the forge fire. The dancing flames are captured in the cold blue steel. Polishing reveals the soul of the sword. The pattern-welded Damascus structure emerges like swirling smoke. The patterns look like writhing snakes. Sagas speak of dragons in the steel. Here they come to life. A finger traces the serpent. The texture of the etching is tactile, a physical connection to the myth. A skald recites poetry to the blade. In the feast hall, the weapon is a character in a story, not just a prop. Silver runes spell out a name on the hilt. Legbiter. The weapon has an identity and a legend of its own. Drawing the golden hilt, the crossguard flashes. Even the scabbard cannot hide the wealth of the bearer. On the ridge, a line of warriors draws their swords. The glare from the polished steel is a psychological weapon. The enemy is blinded. The wall of light hides the attackers, sowing fear before the first blow is struck. Water beads on the polished surface. The hydrophobic effect prevents rust, shedding rain like a duck's back. Polishing is protection. While rough iron rusts, the smooth sealed surface of a polished sword resists corrosion. Blood wipes off effortlessly. The smooth surface offers no purchase for dirt, making field cleaning easy. The sword slides silently home. The lack of friction speaks to the perfection of the blade and the scabbard. Around the fire, the maintenance is communal. It is a time of bonding where the care of arms unites the band. Staring into the flames, the motion is mechanical. The warrior enters a trance, mentally preparing for what comes next. Sparks from the fire blend with the memory of the grind. Fire and stone are the parents of the edge. A youth watches an elder. There are no words, only the observation of a skill that keeps them alive. The stone is handed down. It carries the wear of the previous generation, a heavy legacy in a young hand. On the open ocean, the work kills time. Sharpening is the constant companion of the long sea voyage. A leather strop with ash gives the final polish. This creates an edge sharp enough to shave with. Testing the knife on hair, it pops silently. This level of sharpness is a matter of professional pride. The sea reflects in the blade. Sky and water are trapped in the steel, a mirror of the Viking world. Sheathing the knife, the warrior looks to the horizon. He is ready, his gear maintained to perfection. In the museum, the artifacts rest. Rusted steel lies next to the stone that once kept it bright. A modern hand holds the stone. It connects us across a millennium to the hand that first held it. 3D scans reveal the wear pattern. The hollow in the center tells the story of thousands of blades sharpened. A modern blacksmith uses the same Eadsborg stone. The technology of the rock has not been improved upon. A veteran scolds a recruit. A rusty blade is a sign of laziness and a danger to the entire shield wall. He rubs his pendant like a worry stone. It is a habit born of a lifetime of relying on that piece of rock. A disgraceful weapon is pushed away. There is no excuse for a dull edge when the stone is always at hand. Professionalism is polished in the firelight. While others drink, the disciplined warrior prepares.
Pay up, Ragnar!
The cliffs of Eadsborg stand eternal. The deep quarry pit is a scar of industry on the snowy face of Norway. Brushing away the snow reveals the slate. The fine grain that built an empire is still there, waiting. The rhythm of the sledgehammer echoes. Iron wedges drive deep, splitting the mountain with brute force. The The slab cracks along a perfect fault. The interior surface is smooth, revealed to the light for the first time. An assembly line of Vikings processes the stone. It is a sophisticated operation, maximizing the output of the mine. Quality control is acoustic. The master listens for the clear ring that signifies a stone worthy of export. Sleds are loaded in the twilight. Ropes strain against the heavy stacks of bars destined for foreign lands. Edsborg is the epicenter. The map shows the reach of this stone, traveling as far as Novgorod and York. In the grave, the iron has perished, but the Edsborg stone remains perfect, a testament to its durability. A merchant smiles at the prophet. These gray bars are steady wealth, immune to the rot that claims other goods. The scales balance perfectly. Silver hacks silver on one side, a single high-quality stone on the other. The fleet leaves the fjord riding low. The heavy cargo anchors the ships, stabilizing them for the ocean crossing. A maker's mark is carved. This early branding ensures that the reputation of the quarry travels with the stone. A foreign knight buys the Viking stone. He acknowledges the superior quality of the northern geology. Comparing the edges, the difference is clear. The Edsborg stone creates a satin finish that common rocks cannot match. Seasons change on the dock, but the stone endures. Snow turns to grass, yet the pile remains a store of value. The merchant points out the grain. He compares the eternal rock to the perishable furs, arguing its worth. A deal is struck on the dock. The blacksmith gets his tools and the trader gets his silver. The smith's thumb approves. He can feel the grit, knowing this stone will eat the steel just right. Rough bars are carried on pallets. The raw, unfinished edges protect the stone during the rough transport. Straw packing layers the barrel. This cushioning is the only thing saving the brittle cargo from the ship's motion. Leather straps are tightened. Every bundle is secured, a valuable package ready for the open sea. Counting the inventory, the supervisor points. The wealth of the north is measured in stone bars. The ship dips as the stone is loaded. It is a heavy, dense cargo that demands respect from the crew. The Jarl touches his gold. His power is built on the trade of these gray rocks, a monopoly of geology. Smoke rises from the quarry camp. It is a city of industry, dedicated to pulling the mountain apart. Time speeds up, but the work remains. Vikings, medieval peasants, and modern miners all strike the same rock face. Medieval tools mirror the Viking ones. The nature of the stone dictates the method of extraction across centuries. Today, machines process the slate. The scale has changed, but the stone's purpose remains exactly the same. A modern glove holds the slate. We cut to a Viking hand, holding the same piece, bridging the gap of time. Trade routes glow like gold veins. Edsborg connected the north to the world long before modern globalization.
Behold,
in Constantinople, the stone is displayed. Even in the exotic east, the Viking rock is a prized curiosity. Coins pour onto the table. The exchange of silver for stone fueled the expansion of the Viking Age. Ships act as threads, weaving the economic world together. The heavy stone ballast stabilizes their journey. A polished bar sits on a table. It is a beautiful object, a sculpture of utility and commerce. On the sunset cliff, the warrior polishes his sword one last time. It is a ritual of closure and peace. The sword slides into the scabbard. The metal sings against the leather, sleeping until it is needed again. Silhouetted against the sky, the warrior looks out. The sea calls, and his gear is ready. In the museum, the stone and sword rest together. One is eaten by time, the other remains untouched. A hand on the glass reflects the past. We are separated only by time, connected by the tools we use. The wear marks tell a story. Every scratch on the stone is a battle prepared for, a life defended. The stone has traveled far, from the quarry to the ship, the market to the forge, and finally to the field. The hammer strikes the anvil, then fades. The forge goes cold, leaving only the echo of the work. Nature reclaims the quarry.
The Ides
Moss covers the
today,
scars, but the shape of the
with
mountain
moss
is forever
and trees.
changed.
But the
A modern hiker finds a shard. It is a piece of history, discarded centuries ago, waiting to be found. The match cut bridges the eras. The skin changes, the clothes change, but the stone is constant. In the mists of legend, the warrior sharpens his blade. He is ready for Valhalla, his weapon keen. The stone goes into the pouch. It is the final act of a lifetime of maintenance. The cycle is complete. The ship sails into the whiteout. It disappears into the fog, carrying the legacy of the North. The stone remains when the iron rusts. It is the enduring witness to the age of steel. The fire dies. The embers fade to gray, matching the color of the stone that served them. The cliffs stand silent. In the blue twilight, the mountain holds its secrets, eternal and unmoved. A single spark flares in the dark, a brief moment of light in the long history of the night. The amulet matches the mountain. Science confirms what the Vikings knew. This rock is unique. Far from home, the ship navigates foreign rivers. The stone on board is a physical piece of Norway. Touching the pendant creates a connection. In the rain and fear of battle, it grounds the warrior. Even in exile, the stone remains. Under a foreign sun, it is a tangible memory of the snow and the fjords.